right. Hey guys, how you doing? I'm still apparently I'm sick. So I was sick last week. I was getting better. I was bouncing back, and then I got sick again. So it's worse this time than it was before. It's a lot more scrapey. We're gonna see how good I can do the talkies, and we'll keep at it. We're doing artwork for Eberron. We're creating an adventure campaign. It's for characters, well, not campaigns, characters level 7 and 8. Go run around the Carnwood of Karnath, fighting undead demons and necromancers. And so we've been building, I'm currently going through my social media posts, updating to let everybody know that I'm live. But I've completed that task, so let me fix my screen and we'll get to work here. We're working on our last illustration that we need for the book. This is the book cover we created. We're around episode 40 something. This is currently what we're working on for those that aren't familiar with the format. 16 by 9. When I use it on a tablet or my phone, you can see the entire breadth of the page in one look with a 12-point font, or you can look at each individual column one at a time on a vertical alignment of your device. So we have all these little corner pieces that pop open, and you can see here that on this page, this little mark down here, this little blind spot down here could be okay for just letting it sit as resting space for your eye at the end of the conversation on this column. But this is obviously, I ran out of stuff to say. I could have either added more to the conversation here, or I can fill it with an illustration, and I legitimately didn't feel like it needed more conversation, so we're adding in little corner pieces. And this is the last corner piece that we have to fill in. We've got about an hour of time this morning or so to get it done. We've got some rocks and ground texturing and just ravel. And hey, Fernando, it's good to see you, my man. How you doing? I'm a little sick. As if on cue. Still a little sick. There it is. But I think we're going to be able to get through today. So let's see. Let's work on the rocks next. So we're going to grab this color off of this rock face here that we grabbed the illustration for. We're going to go with a darker tone. Like that feels good. So let's back out, clip down our reference. This is where our felled tree is at here. This is ground in general, and these are our rocks. So let's take our rocks. And we've, the line art has been merged into the base, but before we continue with the base, I'm gonna add a new layer for lighting and darkness in between. That's a highlight color. That's a shadow color. So we'll work, we're going to, I'm organizing my thoughts here, guys. Light and dark, there we go. Light goes on the bottom, light goes on top. So we'll start there. No, I wouldn't say it's nothing compared to what the rest of the nation has been getting. It's just, it's the winter snap. February is actually the coldest month of the year in the Pacific Northwest. It always catches me by surprise, and there's always a rash of sicknesses. I used to have a really strong constitution, but to be perfectly honest, the amount of time that I spend working at home cuts me off from a lot of just daily interaction, which is what you need for herd immunity. I'm not getting it anymore. So I am in no way complaining that I get to frequently spend time at home doing work in my home office. That is amazing for me, and I feel so blessed that I get that. The price I pay is I get sick more often now. So everything has a trade-off. Everything is in balance. I'm going to switch to my chisel, my mountain chisel, and let's take it up to a good strong 90% strength. So most of the pixels are going to get pulled. that's going to allow us to make some easy texture around on this rock. We have a general sense from this log that the light is coming from overhead. Generally, I think off to this here indicates maybe off to the left a little bit. So we're going to have a left turn bias on the shadow and highlights that we're working into the stone. So I think this is probably going, as soon as this piece is done, we are done with streaming Eberron adventure art, and we're going to shift hard gears into, like I've been threatening, for now, we're going to shift into Bob Ross paintings and just do more landscape stuff like this, but using actual real-world locations of beauty as points of reference for us to build our fantasy landscape. So I don't assume these are going to be for commission, but when we get started, I think what I'm going to do is when I complete a piece, I'm going to put it on Patreon and offer it for like $2. Include the brush set that I use, the PDFs in a high-resolution JPEG, and people can purchase rights to use it in their own books and products if they want for like an extra $1. So $2 or $3, depending on on what you want to use it for, either as a study piece for your own Photoshop exploration, or as a product of a product that you can use in one of your books or whatever. That way I get in the habit of starting to do stuff with my Discord channel or with my Patreon. We can go through and peel artwork apart in the book that we have, and serve up that as stock art if we want. We could bundle it with the adventure on DMsGuild. We can sell it separately on Patreon. I can put it on itch.io if I want. I can do anything I want with it, because on DMsGuild you own your own art. They don't gain rights to artwork, just the published material that you've provided. So I can take the same concepts and ideas of the books that I've been creating on DMsGuild and do them again somewhere else, as long as I word them completely differently, so that the product itself that you get is different. So all this time that I've been spending on DMsGuild sharing profit with Wizards of the Coast to use their IP, it's awesome. It's been allowing me to basically have a safe space to train my skills and getting good at building books, so that when I'm finally done with publishing things on the DMsGuild as my main hobby of production, then I'll have the freedom and the experience to just start building PDFs in general and publish them wherever I want. So I always use DMsGuild if it's an IP, if it's a D&D IP or Magic the Gathering IP. Those things are important to me, and they're super fun. I love those. I love all the D&D and MTG IP settings. They're just super fun. So I never want to fully be out of that orbit, but by probably 2028, I think I'll have done everything that I need to do with 5e content or just D&D content in general, and I'll be truly free to do as I please with what I want, though that may continue to be Wizards of the Coast content. I feel like this needs to be, yep, that was a bare spot. That's a bare spot. Interesting. There we go. I'm yammering a little bit. It's easy for me to just yammer because it lets the pixels flow. I'm actively encouraged to yammer about stuff. The more easily the pixels flow, the better the piece looks. What's up? Oh, hey, what's going on, Karen? Sunsky's doing better with the... Oh, good. Well, that's fantastic. Good health for the kitty. Hey, Steve, it's good to see you, my man. Let's see. That feels pretty good. Let's just keep working some shadow into the stone, and then we'll bond the line art down at the end and shave and clean the stone. So we're adding in some shade, and then we'll dot over the apparent surfaces with highlights. Light overhead, generally it's overhead to the left a little bit, is generally where the light source in this is, which means that there's a lot of downward pointing light, so it doesn't make for a lot of really good use of shadow in general, but giving it just a little bit of a left tilt is just enough justification for me to add a bias on the object. That feels good. Now I'm going to bind those three bottom layers together, the base layer, the shadow, and the line art. We're going to merge those layers into one and clean them up, and then we'll put highlights across the top. I think that's how I want to do it this time. Sometimes I'll do the highlights across the top and then bond the line art and the darks together. Sometimes I bond the highlights, the line art, and the shadow and base colors together. It just, I don't know. I don't think it really makes a huge difference one way or the other. I just noticed that sometimes I have that variant. I spy with my eye. Boop. Clean up along the ground. Good. And then back to the rocks. Let's clean up the edges here. And we're going to we have the terrain layer down here underneath all of this, but we're going to have layers in front of this for grass and pebbles and stuff that'll help break the point of contact between the ground and these objects that are supposed to be depicted as seeping into the ground because they're rotting away. So we'll raise the floor instead of lower these objects down into the goop. Now that these are all one layer, I can pick them up and move them if I want. I do the smudge method that I use does create inaccuracies, like a lot of noise and static on the page. That typically I'm going to take time like this to trim away and clean up before I forget about it and lose sight of it, because the only thing I can really track is contrast. So if there's some residual color pigment laying around on a spot and I don't catch it right away, there's a chance that it's going to remain as an error on the page, which I generally accept as just something for me to improve upon. But I have to call it out that is one of the shortcomings I have for sure. So let's go here and dip into this. Get rid of that. There we go. Start working these highlights like that. I'm going to drop the opacity a little bit down to like 80%. So it still has really powerful pull, but it leaves a little bit of residual behind. So that's going to help with the sun-kissed feel. And then bringing that up to the edge also helps curve the stone by taking away any dark, hard edges around it. Leaving some in place, just stretching it out, just letting the texture work for itself. Zoom in a little bit just to get a better look on things. There we go. I can do canyons and mesas in the distance and desert landscapes pretty much exactly the same way. Just add some language about like trees and scrubbing shit on the rock that matches trees and stuff in your foreground. And this could easily be like a little chasm pathway going through here. So the topography that I use for small stones is basically the same that I use for long distance terrain. And it's the context and the and the perspective in the piece that provides the clarity of like what exactly are we looking at. I could put a pebble and a distant mesa next to each other, and then have a radical foreshortening of the edge of a cliff or something that the pebble is on, and have them same size side to side. And the only difference would be a little bit of the texturing, but the structure itself is pretty much the same. Let's grab a mid-tone and push that mid-tone up the side here. Bring that down. Yeah, I have an hour left this morning. We're already finishing up the stones. Yeah, we're doing just fine. Today will be our last day of Eberron art, and then we are going to shift gears into Bob Ross paintings. I've got a stack of them that I've been accumulating over the past few weeks of just stuff that looked cool to me. That is like, yeah, I would enjoy painting that. And we might magic it up with like a fantasy structure or a creature or something like that. Maybe not. No promises there. It's just about studying and enjoying the landscape that we produce. Is the primary function of the exercise that we'll be doing for the rest of the week and probably for the rest of the month. Well, I think the rest of the week is pretty much the rest of the month. Yeah, so probably spilling a little bit into March. Bob Ross stuff before we ramp up and switch gears, as it were, to do something different. Okay, that guy feels good. We can move on from there. We've already done the dark on all of these, so all we have are the highlights left. So let's dive into the highlights here. Wrong one. Thank you. So we'll keep our highlights a little further away from the tree trunk, and then we'll be able to go back through and probably work some cast shadow from that tree trunk over the rock. Once we establish our sharp points, we can layer over it with dark points again. We'll go like that. Let's do that. So it's on Monday, Thursday, and Saturdays I do game design, and Mondays and Thursday nights have been during the development of the space, the Mecha Kaiju Bastion XCOM Space Pirate campaign that we've been that we'll be playtesting Bastion and Mecha mechanics on my Discord server. So build a camp. If I need to test something in game, I'll build an adventure or a micro campaign to run players through to experience that game mechanic in a setting that mechanic is built for, to see how it jives and plays and if it's fun. And if it is, we package the thing and we sell it. That's how we came about with Spelljammer, the Color Mana system, Theurgy, the Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica. These are all things that we tested out and decided were cool and put into books. And in the case of this adventure, we had three separate, me and two other DMs running this with multiple, like 6 different teams, and checking in to see like what stuff was cool, what stuff was difficult, yada yada yada. So hopefully folks enjoy it. It's designed. It was built with professional DMs in mind, because there are multiple plot hooks that give you different pieces of information and change aspects of the adventure, depending on who you're working for and what your objectives are inside of the adventure. So there's high replayability for professional DMs to not get bored with the content, while also rewarding "quote unquote" system mastery of the adventure and encounters that are built inside the book. So I don't know if any adventures are being built specifically with the idea of replayability for DMs in mind. This is the first one I've heard of, so that's something I think is really cool. It can be ran as a one-shot in 2 sessions, or like up to 5 sessions. You can gain 1 or 2 levels in it. So paid DMs work at different scales. Like they might do like a one-shot, or they might want to. And 7th and 8th level is a good high-end mid-level adventure that's still manageable and in an enclosed setting that makes it digestible for DMs running one-shots. But it can be integrated into ongoing campaigns as a launching point for various different adventure paths that you can have inside Karnath or towards Talenta Plains. So I'm pretty happy about that. This is looking pretty good. I'm happy with this too. Let's back that off. Actually, you know what I feel like I want to do is back the highlight off a little bit. What happens if we gray that down a smidge? It feels like it's got too much activity going on. I can afford to punch this up, but that's just, this is an example of too many trees in a forest. I need to flatten out some of these planes. Planes are flat surfaces on an object. The 2-dimensional side of the D6, as it were, that's considered a plane. So I want to flatten out some of these planes with less terrain on them, so they look less like distant mesas at small scale. Instead, just look like multifaceted lumps. I was overcomplicating it. What I was doing was I was just having fun with building, and I was thinking about Bob Ross, so I ended up making some mesa landscapes, and I did not need to do that. Flattening these things out and reducing the complexity of the surfaces of the rock, I think, is helping return us back to it's just a footstone. Looks like a squished frog. Let's push this up a little bit like that, so we just have some little crevices. Yeah, that feels good. Let's go back over here and flatten this one down a little bit too. There we go. That feels pretty good. Very good. All right, keeping that simplicity in mind, let's proceed to this stone. Yeah, I like that. That feels good. Up in here. Almost done with this rock, and then we'll start doing ground grit and just general muck terrain. This one's really easy. I like that one. I like those stones. Those look really good. This one's missing something. Let's go back through here and let's add another layer on top to help darken these spots a little bit. Smoothing out that terrain a little bit to make it a little less, yeah, just less. That feels pretty good. And I like that divot. That feels pretty good. Yeah, I like that. That's gonna work just fine. I can probably. No, let's leave that like that. We'll leave it like that. We'll let terrain take care of that. You over here, you're looking pretty good. Let's smudge that out a little bit here. Thin that down a little bit. Yeah, okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm content with these rocks. Merge all those down. There's no sense keeping them separated. Now we can carve at the edges a little bit again. Smoothing on the surface so it's not so complicated. And we can shore this up. There we go. So yeah, tonight we'll work on, we're going to finish up the pirate fleet of Lazar. And I think because I'm feeling ill, I think I'm going to have a short session tonight. We're just going to flesh out the pirate fleets that the team can potentially contend with, and we'll just make it a short session. I'll get some sleep so I can come back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for artwork tomorrow. Oh, this week's going to be a little disrupted. This is this Wednesday is when I make my pilgrimage to the downtown office to participate in corporate activities and team building exercises and shit. So I will not be on stream on Wednesday morning this upcoming week as I pay my dues. But I'll be back on Thursday like usual and yada 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 yada. Okay, those all sit pretty now. Let's just thin this up just a smidge, and I think I'm going to be pretty happy with where all these are at. Yeah, I'm happy with where all these are at. Okay, cool. So now we will go into texturing the ground. We're going to start on the layer that we have, and as objects get in front of the rocks, like for instance this little scraggle here, I can put that scraggle along the edge of the rock and it breaks up its surface a little bit. Like that. Sweep across to blend it in, pull down a little bit along the edges. There's some scraggle. That's what we want to do. We want to do scraggle. So let's go here. We're going to go over here and grab some big color references. So you have like all these little thorns and shoots that are scraggling around the base of these trees as they rot away. We want to do similar to that. I'm going to take a sip of water here. We should be okay. Maybe the first thing I want to do is work some scraggle over here. Let's go like this. Let's grab our grass brush. That's not the one I want. Here we go. That's what that brush looks like on its own. We can flatten it down to get rid of the curve. So that's what we're going to do here for a little bit. I'm going to grab the same brush. I'm going to grab the more curved original brush as our eraser here. I'm going to use a smaller size to erase at some of this so we can leave some of the texture surviving while disintegrating the general form. So we're going to switch to the same brush. We're going to take our opacity down to, we're going to take our brush strength down to 60. So I'm going to turn the brush upside down and grab the base here and pull up. That's how we get that wispy, sort of grassy effect. Nice little bit. It's just noise and texture. That's all we really want. We add, we subtract, then we smudge. We add, subtract, and then smudge. Add, subtract, and smudge. This is the way of the earth. And we layer. Let's take that and break that up a little bit. Yeah, the pirates, the space pirates of Lazar, they have about a population of about 3,000 currently. And a good solid 1,000 of them are active buccaneers, while the rest are like farmers and like pig herders, and just does general society stuff in support of the plundering machine to help supplement the plundering. it was a higher percentage, but they're at war with the Undying Court of Fae in some asteroids near their manifest zone, and nothing is going well for anybody. Let's drop down here. So we'll spend some time with that tonight. Let's grab this smudgy brush and just work this color into the canvas a little bit more. Let's create some interesting points of interest. Interesting points of interest. There's some variety in the terrain and to hint at objects and topography that I don't want to specifically flesh out, but I want to hint at, because we're fading into the text here, so I can't increase detail as we rise. I have to deplete it. And this fade out effect does a pretty good job about that. There we go. That feels pretty good. We can go back to our brush. We can drift over this way and continue to replicate our patterns. Add, subtract, smudge. Add, subtract, and smudge. Doesn't require a lot of brain power to do it, though, so it leaves my it leaves me open to think about other things and allow my brain to. It gives my brain processing time to be able to consider the finer points and details of things that are on my plate. That feels pretty good. Let's create some. I'm going to block these all in together as this. And we'll start working over here too. I think I wanna what do I want to do? Kind of like that. Erase that a little bit. Turn the tool upside down for pulling on the smudge. There we go. I like how this is darker. I want to borrow that. That'll probably still do okay. Let's try it out a little bit. Make some shape around here like that. Just curve this stuff in. Just play with the landscape. And again, we use our eraser here to thin it all down so nothing is too pronounced. And then we'll smudge and lift to help blend it into the canvas in general, but also to, at the same time, create all these inferences of little grass colonies and shit that are trying to survive in this mess. And then we can dot along the bottom here to erase the edges. And then a lighter opacity on the eraser just to dot at it to blend it into the environment a little bit more. Just to push it in. Get rid of that connector point in there. Cool, let's switch back. I'm going to bond across these 2 points here on a separate layer. That, again, more depth. More layers means more overlaps, more depth and congestion, more volume. Nature doesn't like wasting space. She'll pack them in. flipping the tool upside down for our smudge to pull at it. And then we're going to use a light eraser here just to dot across all of it to blend it down so the stacking blends further into each other. Oh, this little nice scrag. And you pull out, it just looks like terrain and tarmac. You zoom in, and we have all the individual little texture brush strokes. I like that. I like how that's sitting. I'm gonna drop down the opacity of the piece as a whole, though. Something like that feels good. And now we're gonna do another layer. We'll just keep layering them on top of each other. I'm going to reduce the size of this one, actually. Increase the density of brush strokes. And you can see I'm just kind of doing like little gentle hills and gradations here. Create little pockets, like one step at a time across the landscape. But this is the last thing we have for this piece, so this is a good place for us to be in. Hitting the eraser here with 100% strength, dropping it down in size so it can peck away at the obviousness of those line patterns and break it up, and so it just looks like curvature of terrain. Instead of being guiding lines that are curving, the texture is curved. So you erase enough to get rid of the pattern, but keep enough to keep the motion. And then we turn our brush upside down, and we'll pull from the bottom and work our way up. Down a little bit just for variety. There, not bad. And then we'll take the large eraser with a very low strength so it just taps at and just reduces the intensity of the brush strokes. Reducing the intensity helps push everything into this like fogginess that we have as a general lighting condition throughout the adventure. This oppressive fog-like feeling. By taking away the strength of the brush strokes, we help lend to that congestion feeling. Speaking of congestion, excuse me for a second. He's got the sick. Take some medicinal coffee. What is medicinal coffee? Something that makes me not think about being sick. All right, so we're taking steps across the canvas here. So now I want to start here at the back and take steps forward around the front of this rock here. So this has led us from this part of the piece across here to here, and now we're going to start with the piece back here and push our way forward and around here until we come around here like that. So, less ado and more do. Just dot all that. It doesn't take a lot of attention here to dot this stuff in. I do think, though, that I want it underneath the stone. Let's do that. Yeah, behind the stone, but in front of the log. That's the way to do it. And we're reducing the size of our brush so we can pull at these back here and then keep pulling at them. And we we flip it over with a lighter opacity eraser and just tap away at it a little bit to push it in. There we go. And then we'll do another one. The next one's going to be in front. Yeah, this is where we're at now. Now we can up our size a little bit, push around in here, push around in here. Maybe we'll put some mushrooms or something in that little crook. I don't know, we'll find out what lives in there. Hit our eraser, push that eraser up to 100% so we can fatigue it. Not too much, I want this dense. That feels pretty good. Let's flip this over. Start pulling at these little bumps. Up and under. There we go. And then we're going to use our eraser again with a lower, like around a 30% strength eraser to help just push it in. There we go. I'm going to go visit this a little bit more. Just break that stuff up a little bit. That feels pretty good. Now let's stay back here real quick and build up some more. I'm going to actually increase the curve of my brush. For this little pocket that we're going to work on here. It just feels right. Zero. Dot our zero across there to help thin it down a little bit, and then we flip over our brush for our smudge. I'm going to just grab and drag, and then lift, grab and drag and lift, grab, drag, lift. And then, again with the low opacity eraser, since we've drifted this stuff, we're going to tap at it to fatigue it. We're going to take this again. I'm going to really increase the amount of density that we have along the side of the log here and pull at that. Really just want to work that color in to help smudge out the erase, pull. That feels pretty good. I'm happy with that. Let's do the same sort of effect back in here. A little more. Start stacking it up. There we go, that feels pretty good. Nice, I like that. Okay, cool, so let's just keep stacking. So a little bit more along here like that. Make a neat little ridge or lump on the ground, I guess. Pull underneath as well. Add some density. I'm just going to keep stacking up layers here. Increase the size of the brush a little bit to indicate the change in perspective, moving closer. Dot up along the line here. Erase a little bit down into here. It's pretty redundant. I mean, it's just we're doing grass. That's what we're doing right now. It takes a little bit longer. The Photoshop tools aren't as agile as a physical oil brush with its thousands of horsehairs helping create immediate and massive density of texture. We don't have that benefit. So we're using the next best thing that we have, a static tool that we can manipulate into different shapes to help create that variety of texture. So now we're going to step out from there and look at the bigger picture and just start working larger. So then we're going to go in again with the 100% eraser and just dot at stuff to break up their shape. Let me say thank you for folks that are checking out the channel. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. If you want to see more of my stuff, if you're a D&D enthusiast or an artist, these are all books that I've published on the DMsGuild. They're chock full of my art and ideas. If you want to see more of my artwork, you can just look at the free previews of those books. And if you're a D&D enthusiast and you think that they're cool ideas that you're seeing alongside the art, if you want to make a purchase, God bless you. If not, all that stuff there is free for you guys to look at and enjoy. And you can support me on Patreon if you want, which is linked down below. If you're interested in playtesting and D&D, some of the different stuff that we've been designing here, you're welcome to join my Discord community, which is also accessible down below. Just hang out, have fun. Cheers. And again, a light eraser, we're going to flip it over and just tap at stuff just to break up the terrain a little bit. And now we'll add yet another layer, another layer. So we have this area blocked in pretty good, so now we're going to block in this area here. Again, going with larger brushes to fill in the space. I don't like that last one. I think I'm going to stop there. So we'll erase some of this, again, with our 100% eraser, a smaller size, to help break things up a little bit. And again, we flip over and use our smudge brush to pull at the edges here to create more variety in the pattern, so it doesn't look like an obvious paintbrush that we're using, but also creates different levels of just static noise along the ground to make it look more like something you can traverse. And we're back in here with erasing. We're going to use a lighter erase tool here just to fade it into the terrain a little bit more. There we go. And now we can add in another layer. Yeah, not a lot of paint survives that process layer by layer. So by stacking on a bunch of layers and repeating the effect, it ends up having volume while having that worked fatigue and reduction in place for all of it. So we get the volume and the depth that we need by repeating the process more. Which makes it a little complicated, I agree. But I like the results. So to me, the results are worth the effort, and that's the whole point of the art, right? Ooh, I popped my eardrum. Good. Now let's take a lower opacity eraser and again dot through here to reduce the amount of texture. There we go. What happens if I push this up a little bit? Do I like that? Yes. Yes, I do. Hey, what's up? Hey, Gabby. This is laid almost 100 gigabytes of old files. I'm not even... Oh, my God. Wow. Massive project. Mad respect. Mad respect. I might go through someday and scrap out all my old junk files, too. I've got 20 minutes left and a little bit of grass to go. So let's see if I can succeed at this endeavor. So close to dunnage. The light opacity eraser to help blend it all in, to help create that layering effect again. And then we're just going to keep stacking these up until we've filled the canvas. I see text. See how that density is starting to add up? It feels really good. Let's take a like a 30% eraser, flip it upside down, erase it that a little bit. So, that's one of the 3 folders that I'm cleaning up, backing up architecture. Oh my God, that's insane. All right, another one here, and then 100% pass, 100% erased, and delete. And now a lighter eraser to blend and push. Nice. I like the effect. I'm really happy with that. Let's drop this down a little bit and work it in front of the stone here. That's probably all we need for you. So let's zoom in a little bit and erase at this. And then we turn the tool upside down and we pull. This needs to be pushed back. So like to here. Correct. Just box those up so I can keep things manageable. Hey, what's up? Nope, nothing. Cheers. Have at it. Let's see. Oh, right. Yeah. Next is here. So we'll fill in this divot here. Yeah. Thanks, folks, for swinging by and checking out the channel. I do artwork like this Monday through Fridays in the morning. I do game design on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Monday and Thursday nights, Saturday mornings. It looks like we're probably going to be playing some Mage Tower this weekend. And that'll be on Saturday, so I'll probably have an earlier stream in the morning, and then we'll have our playtesting in the afternoon. But on Saturdays, we're working through the color mana classes. So we did Barbarian. We pretty much finished Barbarian on this past Saturday. We're gonna work Bard tomorrow, this weekend we'll work the Bard. And we'll get it up to near printable condition. So we're getting really, really close to publishing. We're going to be updating the color mana system for 2024. So going through all the classes and updating them accordingly is part of that process. So that's what we're doing on Saturdays currently. Let's take this back to 100% eraser and just dot at that a little bit, and then we're going to flip this over and pull. I'm going to really enjoy doing doing artwork for Martial Powers and for the Color Mana book. I'm really going to enjoy that. That's what needs to break right there. And now let's take the reduced percentage on the eraser and break up that a little. This is where we need to be, right here. Break that up a little bit. And then we'll layer more in front of that. I see text. What's up? You doing the Artificer? Yes, I am. I'm actually going to do the Artificer as a separate book. I'm going to have the core mechanics for the spellcasters as one book. I'll have core mechanics for the marshals as another book. And then since since the Artificer isn't a core class, we'll do a separate like 15-page book, kind of like we did for Knights and Tricksters and Elemental Monks. We're going to do that for the Artificer, and we're going to do that for the Sorcerer. The Sorcerer has a lot of changes. The spell point variant rule book, like the core mechanics that we do for spellcasters and marshals, that's designed mostly. Well, the spellcasters, it's designed to use the stuff that's in the player's handbook as our base frame of reference, and then we'll do expansion books that go further off the beaten path for folks that want to go further off the path. So the bare minimums to make the Sorcerer feel right for Martial Powers is included in the core mechanics, but like the expanded list of 25 meta magics instead of like the 7 that are in the player's handbook. We're going to add that into a separate book, and then we're going to expand on how those interact with the subclasses. And then we're going to do a standalone book like that for the Artificer as well. We won't be making any mention of the Artificer in the core book, because technically Artificer isn't core, but it is an official character class. So we're going to put it in a separate book as its own separate official character class, just like they did, to mirror how Wizards approached it. But of course, all my books have 100% free preview. So if folks don't think that's worth buying, then they don't. Pretty nice system there. Like in the core mechanics, talking about the Sorcerer, we'll keep like the 7 meta magic sorceries that are available. That's it. And we aren't going to worry about stacking sorceries. But when we put out the Spell Point Sorcerer book, we'll have all of the 23 meta magics in there, as well as include the max sorcery limit that allows you to add multiple meta magic effects onto the same spell effect. That's a little bit more involved than I want just basic like alternate spell point. Like the core mechanics is like, here's how you have alternate spell points using color mana, and here's how it affects the characters listed in the player's handbook. And then we go a step further of, now that that's what we're doing, let's rebuild stuff so that it uses mana first. So then we bundle it all together and make it, inexpensive for people to collect all together, or get discounts if they start to buy some of them. They get more discounts for others. Make it really customer friendly for folks to just get involved and take an interest if they want. Let's do 100% eraser here. Dot in through this here. This may have been more aggressive of a patch than I wanted to at this in the foreground like that, but that's okay. Let's pull on them to smudge them out as we do. And then come back through with the lighter eraser to blend it in, and then we can just stack up more effect on top of that. There we go. So this little bald patch here. %, eraser to reduce the amount of density. And then the eraser, or the smudge tool to pull up on them to make wisps. And then the light eraser to help blend it into the terrain. And then we have just a little patch up front there that we're going to add to. I see text. Give me a hot second. I'll catch up with you. And then pull up to wisp this the effect. And then the lighter eraser to blend in. Look at that. What's up? My favorite DMsGuild book for players is the Theurgy Oh, right, yeah. And hey, very cool. Glad that you're enjoying that stuff. It's obviously, it's not mine, but it's just anything that you find that's good on the DMsGuild is a victory for all of us. Now I can merge these all together. Have that there. Here. Rocks. Background stuff there. Rock. Tree. Ground. And a bunch of texture. Does that do what we need it to do? Yes, it does. Am I content? We got about 10 minutes left. Let's just fuck around and find out. So I think what I want to do. Here is add some patches. Yeah, let's switch our brush. Let's switch our brush to the mountain chisel and thin it down a little bit. And let's just add in some. Switch our brush to the chisel there as well, and take up a decent percentage. Just create some light variation here on the ground. That feels pretty good. What's up? Oh, right on. Very nice. Very generous of you. Honestly, it's just hard enough to get the people looking at your third-party product stuff. That's why I want to make it all free preview, so that I'm who am I? I'm nobody, right? So I put out ideas and let you look at the ideas, and if you value the ideas, then you can decide to pay for them. That feels very reasonable to me. I'm going to dust across here. Let's do some of that. And then let's use this brush. That feels fun. And add some more of that over here. Oh, that is fun. I like that. There, I see more text. I'll catch up with you in a second. Drop that opacity down and then add another layer. Oh, right on. Cool. Right on. I'm not familiar with Alex directly yet. I'll take a look. Push back. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Is there anything that I need to do? What happens if I grab a snap of that and just start dropping a little bit of... terrain, just for the lulls of it. What is this that I'm doing? What am I doing here? I don't actually know what I'm doing. Interesting. Okay, sure. Let's do whatever the hell this is. There we go. There. Very good. Yes. I like this added layer of texture. Can we take that and drop it to the ground? Yes, we can. Dark ground. Yes, we can. Very good. I like finding this. Let's keep with it. In there, buddy. Just basically chopping at this, just basically just grinding it up and dropping some pixels and then pushing them around and erasing them and then pushing around some more just to add grit and just random texture, variance into the ground. We can drop the opacity on that a little bit to thin it down. There, that feels pretty good. Let's add another layer. I think I want another one over here. There we go. That feels pretty good. We'll drop the opacity on that. Blend it down a little bit as well. Neat. Some neat little rough ups. Excuse me. Adds a little bit of variety to the texture. Let's just do that. Blend this in. Push this back like that and erase at that. The tips a little bit to make it more blended. Just little pockets of grunge. Eraser blends it in. Dot that in there. There. Okay, great. I think I am content with this terrain. It's not too fancy. It adds in some visual interest. It was fun to do. Fold that up. Are we content? Yeah, I think we're content. think it's the best piece we've ever done, but I think it serves its purpose. That log is a much stronger saturation, or I don't know if the saturation is any higher, but it's certainly very dark compared to the rest of the terrain. But I'm out of time, so too bad. I don't think I like this like that. This feels pretty good. I could probably do. We got a few minutes left. It's like a really dark blend through here. I like that. There, that feels pretty good. We'll drop the opacity on that a smidge. That, I think, was the little punch that we needed. Hey, kind of like this. I think the stone is lacking in contrast. I think that's what's bugging me. There, that feels much more like lived in, you know? A little bit more over here. Drag that all in. Just that little darker base is helping. It's really helping the contrast on the piece. But yeah, those rocks are shouting out at me now. Do I have time in my few minutes to be able to build out a better dark shadow? I think we go with a darker color like that. Probably be better off. Let's see if I'm right. Let's try. Oof, that's dark. That's okay. We can hit it with the opacity to lighten it up. Yeah, that could work. Let's keep on that idea. Gives ourselves a few minutes of that. Too much detail breaks the effect. I have to be careful with this. Almost out of time. Dangerously low on time. Yeah, this is giving a little bit of punch and contrast I think these things needed. This is time invested. Very well done. There we go. I don't want too much spikiness going on in there. I have to be careful with that. There. That feels pretty good. Straighten that up in there. Push that over. Feels okay. All right, I am. Oh shit, I'm out of time. All right, I gotta kick out of here, guys. I'm gonna be back. I'll be back tomorrow, and I don't think we're gonna be working on this. I'm gonna mess around with these rocks off screen and get them fixed. But my anticipation is starting on a new painting tomorrow. New series working on Bob Ross style painting methods like this stuff for fantasy environments, and we're gonna take live samples from different photographs around the planet, and we're gonna use those as our base for composition and color references and terrain, and we're going to make something out of that. So stay tuned and like, subscribe, bell icon, notifications, bloody blah if you're interested in this type of stuff. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you guys in the future. I'll actually be on later on tonight building the Space Pirates Lazar for Eberron. We're making the pirate fleet. We built the ships last episode. Now we're going to populate them with the crew. So stick around. Cheers.